welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts. Now what I'm going to be doing today is using some of these wood bits that came in this little kit. And I had this was one of my stocking fillers for Christmas. And I love it when people buy me things like this. Now some of these fit in moulds that I already have. For instance, that one fits nice and snug in there. And these smaller bits actually fit quite snugly into these moulds. Very snugly, actually. So I'm going to push that right the way down to there and then just pop a little bit of resin in the top of there. Now for these ones, I'm going to make a little bit of a box for those. And these pieces, all I'm going to do is add something in there and then fill with resin. I will certainly try and find this kit and link it in the description below. It also comes with this acetate. This is ideal for making the little boxes. I've made my little pot now and it was really easy to make. I just seal it up with sellotape. I'm going to put some double-sided tape on the bottom here to really stick that down onto the base of this box so avoid getting too much resin on this bit here. And that'll stick in there really nicely. They're ready now to be filled up.
The great yellow sun is reflecting in your deep blue eyes. The day has begun. You spin around, you laugh to yourself. And I see you shine in every color, resting your head in my arms. You sing la la la.
Well, these have all cured up now, and I'm ready to either do the next stage or show you what they look like. Now, I know I actually did 2 of these, and they came out really, really pretty, but I dropped one, and I just can't find it. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to find it soon enough. If not, then I've only got one of them. But it just shows you how nicely and easily they fill. So this is the resin one. And I think that has come out really pretty. It's come out really swirly. But people aren't going to want to wear that great big thing around their necks. And the same for this one once I undo this little plastic pot. So that's come off there okay. And that's come off there quite nicely. I just need to take off the piece of double-sided tape as well, because I don't need that on there. And if I can't get that right off, I'll just use a little bit of alcohol on there to get that right out. And now it's about shaping these up. Now this one probably isn't going to be too big, and that one should come out there fairly easily, because all you need to do is roll that down, and then that should just pop out. As you can see, it has. And that has come out okay. But it still needs a bit of sanding because of where the resin has gone onto the wood. And I don't want that to be there. I want it to just be seen on the top here. This is where I think the Tiswall's rotary tool comes in really handy. And as I've always said many, many times, this is probably the most important tool that any resin crafter can have. And you get the drum and the sandpaper in here. That's all nicely tight in there. But I don't want to spend all that time going through and cutting this down into shape using the sandpaper. What I want to do first is cut this down just using a saw or a hacksaw into the shape that I want it to be. The same for this one. Just use a saw or a hacksaw on these. But before I do that, I will make a decision on the sort of shape that I want it to be. This one, I want to round off the corners here, and I want to reduce it in size. The wooden side, I want to take down to about there, and that will allow me to reuse that piece of wood that comes off it anyway, so that's really useful. The resin side, I want to keep about the same. I've got a new blade in my hacksaw. Now, when you're doing this, please ensure that you're wearing a mask, because the last thing you want to do is be breathing in any of this resin when you're sawing it. And as you can see, this saws really easily and very quickly using the hacksaw. Just go through it using slow stroke and you'll get the shape that you want. Okay, so there we go. So I finished sawing through that one. I'm quite happy with that. And I've also finished sawing through that one. All it is about is taking off, for this one, these sharp edges and evening this one out. And I've still got me little bit of wood to use again. Woohoo! I won't chuck these bits away because I may break them up and use them into something else. I have a little pot that I keep all these sorts of things in. So I've got my full face mask on now and I'm ready to sand these off. And you can see how nice and easy that comes off. But the thing is, you don't want, obviously, these scratches to be on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of those as well. Yeah, and I do like the shape. I've put a couple of indents in there. So what we now need to do is finish off this one. And I will do that exactly the same, but I'm just going to go around each of the corners with this one. And then I can show you what to do next. So now I've got that into the shapes that I want, what I'm going to do is just go over it now with a little bit of sandpaper, like this, really just to even out any of the bits that need evening out and to make these scratches a little smaller. I'm not sanding this down to the point where it's all polished. I just can't be doing with that. It just takes too much time. So I'll show you what I'm going to do to prevent me having to do that. Yeah, I'm much happier with that now, and that is a nicer size and a nicer shape to put a nice pendant through. And the same goes for this one as well. I've taken off the resin that had got onto the wood, or most of it anyway, and the same for this one. And you can see now where the resin has gone down into the bits there. So now it'll just be a case of going through all of them using this piece of sandpaper very quickly, like that. That's all I plan to do. Clean off any of the dust. And now I'll show you how I'm going to make this all nice and shiny. Before I do anything else, what I want to make sure is that everything is as dust free as possible. And all I'm going to be using for that is a baby wipe, going over it and making sure there is no evidence of the sanding dust there at all, because I don't want the dust in my final finish. So they're now as clean as I think I'm going to get them anyway.
Living in bubbles. Too late. They say I'm always too late, but I'm just spending my time.
And then once you're happy that it's found its own level, keep your brush away from your UV torch and then just cure it up. And as you can see, that side has now come up nice and shiny, and it is transparent. You can see where the wood is in there and everything else. So all I need to do now is follow on and do the other side and also the edges, and then that'll be finished. Well, this one's all finished now, and I've already drilled the hole through it as well. And as you can see, that has come up beautiful and shiny. There was no additional sanding having to be done for that at all, which is great. With the JD UV resin, as long as you leave your torch on there long enough, which you should do, you don't get any of that sticky residue either, curing it like you do with some UV resins. Because I haven't covered that one at all with the resin, I want to give that wood a little bit of a seal. What I've got here is some natural creamed beeswax, and I want to pop that on to there to seal that wood up. And it's easy to do, and if you get it on the resin, it isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. It isn't going to hurt the resin at all. You'll be able to wipe it off. and then just give that a bit of a wipe off, because you don't want that all around your neck or wherever else you're going to put this. That's all that done. I want to make sure that there's no beeswax in the hole that I've drilled. Push a bit of cloth in there and that'll get that out. So that's that one all finished. I think that's come up lovely. I really like that, and I think that'd look like a really great pendant hanging down. Finish this one off. I'm actually going to put it on this piece of cord, and there we have a great finished necklace, and that's what that one looks like. It's not heavy at all. It hangs really nicely, and again you can see all the little glitter in there and all the other colours as well that I've put through it. Now with these ones, I've already drilled a little hole in there now, and all I have to do to attach that is add to this one of these little tiny screw hooks. Now you don't have to use these as key rings. You could use them as earrings. You could use them as checkers or draft pieces. I always like to drill a little hole before I add one of these closed loop screws, because that way you're not going to split your wood at all, so you haven't got to worry about that. They're all finished now. I'm really pleased with how they've come out. I think that has come out really well. Lovely and clear and beautiful and shiny without having to worry about any of that nasty, time-consuming, awful sanding. And these little ones, I love the way that they come out too. It's really, really pretty. And this one, the cloudy look of that resin in there from all that sparkle and glitter has come out nicely. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below. I will link everything that I've used today in the description below, including these wood bits, because they're really useful and easy to get hold of. Please book that like button. It really does help my videos to get out there, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee, the link for that is in the description below. Take care. Enjoy your resin. Bye.